There's no court today, which would have been day 15 in the Karen retrial. But that's okay, because I hadn't even talked about day 14 yet. So I'm going to go back and do that really quick. Considering there was only one witness, a lot of shit went down. But before court could even get underway, Judge Bev had 3 motions she needed to consider. The first one was from Hank Brennan, and he essentially is calling bullshit on the defense's Bowden defense, right? So the defense's claim that there needs to be found not guilty because there's no way that she can put up a defense against, a police department who seems to be making it up as they go along, right? If the investigation is faulty, then you must acquit the defendant. That's basically the way that works. And Hank is like, but do we have to bring all this stuff into testimony to kind of keep talking about how bad that really was? Yeah, and Judge Bev has already excluded another person who was supposed to come in and speak to police procedure, right? Like, here's how you do it right, here's how you do it wrong. And Bev was kind of like, don't we all already kind of know this? And I gotta say, she's not wrong. Like, it doesn't take more than a couple of episodes of Law & Order to figure out that collecting blood evidence in red Solo cups is fucking stupid, right? And so we're kind of assuming the jury knows basic police, good police work from bad police work. Now, that was the defense motion, was fighting back against this. Hank also put forward a second motion. Believe it or not, he wants to revisit Arubagate. Now, a lot of people don't love this idea, but I think I'm okay with it. And the whole purpose here is that Hank is really trying to make the jury hate Karen. He wants them to see her as this raging lunatic, this crazed woman who becomes violent every time that she is drunk. And of course, he wants to bring in a couple of people who witnessed her kind of lose her shit when they were in Aruba. Now, this is where the younger jury comes in handy. If the jury box was filled with 75-year-old grandmothers and had never once had the audacity to even raise their voice to their husbands in disagreement, they would look at Karen and think, oh my God, she's wretched. But if this jury is younger Gen X or millennials or even a couple of Z's mixed in there, these are generations of people that were raised on, reality TV drama. We all watched on TV as Tiger Woods' wife took golf clubs to his car. Judge Bev has not made a decision on that motion. We'll see if the Sullivan sisters are going to come in and testify. But really, honestly, I think if it's anything like the first trial, Jackson will just flick them away because bottom line, I think it's a big nothing burger and he'll treat it like that. And I think it's not even going to make a dent. But let's get to the really good stuff, because by now, if this jury hasn't sort of figured out that this was a botched investigation, yesterday sealed the deal for them. So there's 5 things I want to tell you about. First, the Ring camera. Yes, there was Ring camera video from when Karen returned from 34 Fairview to John's home that night after she dropped him off at the party. There was Ring video. It's gone. And there was some rumor that Karen had taken it or destroyed it or deleted it. Well, it turns out that the phone, John's phone, was in the custody of one Trooper Proctor, who then also accessed the Ring app from John's phone. So we know what happened to the video. And that has been the story all along. Where's the library video? Where's all the other Ring videos? Proctor. The second one is the group text chat. They were allowed to bring this in because Yuri is one of the participants. So that's because he participated, they were allowed to ask him about it. And of course, Proctor says all these idiotic, foul, obnoxious things. And Yuri has to sit there and go, yep, he said that. And this isn't even half of it. This is not him calling her a CUNT like he did in some other texts. This is just some basic run-of-the-mill cruelty. And now the jury gets to see that he was biased against her and Yannetti from the very beginning. We discovered they lied about the time that they picked up the car in Dighton and took it to the Sallyport. And this wasn't just one report that Proctor accidentally, mistakenly wrote the wrong time on. This was a couple of different reports that he intentionally put the wrong time on it because they needed it to look like the car got to the Sallyport earlier than the car actually did. We learned that Proctor, with just a couple of degrees of separation, is attached to the Albert family because his sister Courtney is BFFs with Julie Albert. Now, Julie Albert's married to Chris, and they are the parents of Colin. Colin was in Courtney's wedding, so that's the connection. Now, both these ladies pretend they don't know each other very well, but I went back to my notes from the first trial, and here's what I know. Julie Albert called Courtney Proctor 67 times between February 1st and September 6th, which is about 6 months. That averages out to 2.75 times every single week for 6 months straight. It's more than I talked to my parents. But yet when Julie took the stand, she says, oh no, we very rarely speak. Okay. On February 1st, which was the day of Karen's original arraignment, Julie Albert called Courtney Proctor 3 times before 9 a.m. And I'm sure it was like, it's about to get on. It's about to get on. This bitch is going down. Whatever they were saying before the arraignment. And then they spoke for 27 minutes after the arraignment. Now the jury knows that Proctor has a family connection and he should have recused himself, and he didn't. But the big fucking humdinger is that Sallyport video. This was a big deal last year, and I remember making a video about it, and I was just astounded. I'm like, how do you invert the video? And they walked into court and they presented it. It was evidence. They put it into evidence and said, here's the video. And look, if you can see, there's the SUV and there's the right back tail light, which is the passenger side tail light. No one's even near it. Everyone's over on the other side. And all those men milling around out there doing whatever they're doing, it's on the other side. What are you so worried about? And then, luckily, the defense caught on that old classic squad car that's sitting in there. Well, you could see in the video that the word police was backwards. And someone was like, wait a minute. And on the stand, it was presented as, are you sure this isn't inverted? And everyone was like, oh, holy shit. Well, now this jury knows. Now this jury knows that they put that in as actual evidence. They thought they could pull the wool over everybody's eyes. They tried to pull a fast one. Now, here's the interesting thing. The chain of custody kind of goes like, okay, somehow Chief Berkowitz got his hand on the Sallyport videos, and then he gave it to Helena Rafferty. So it's one chief or former chief giving it to the new chief, and then she turns it over to the defense or whoever. Two Canton chiefs of police were involved in handing faulty evidence over in a murder trial. So it was made pretty obvious while Yuri was up on the stand. I mean, it's clear that a man formerly known as Trooper Proctor is no longer with the Massachusetts State Police. And the jury's got to be wondering why Yuri and Tully weren't right the fuck behind him. They all should have been shown the door. Yuri loses some vacation days. All of this, and Yuri loses some vacation days. It was pretty clear this is a setup from the beginning. And I don't know how Hank Brennan convinces anybody of anything different at this point.